first trip I did to the GPU was way more bad and ugly than it was good. The conditions were extremely challenging, and our group was full of rigs that just weren't built for deep snow. Of the 12 that started the trek to the falls, only 5 of us finished. It's once again time for that annual pilgrimage to the good, bad, and the ugly. The TransAlta Trail is about the most popular trail that you'll find in all of Alberta, but I've never seen the staging area this busy. Ever. And it wasn't just busy, it was full of Toyotas. This is a first for me, as Jeeps tend to dominate the trails. At least that's been my experience so far. Even worse, there was only one other Wrangler. The two of us, well, we felt like party crashers. In order to avoid the traffic that a group of this size can cause out on the trails, we squeezed through all the Toyotas and our adventure was officially underway. Once again, my kids tagged along for this one. This would be their first winter adventure. The last time they were convinced I joined a cult, a Jeep cult. I'm curious what they're going to think of this one.
Very cool.
That's the hill I went up, and Tessman couldn't make it.
You'll probably never let that one go.
And I will never, ever let him forget that. Ever.
Oh man.
So far, the drive was easy. But this part of the journey was simple last year, too.
My ears are popping. Hold on.
As we progressed further down the TransAlta road, the conditions got slippery. But there still wasn't a lot of snow. We passed through sections in minutes that took us hours last winter. The final descent into the valley always seems to be a point of contention. Last year, the group was worried about icy conditions. And this year, we had heard that it was, once again, a sheet of ice. Groups in previous weeks were actually taking alternate routes into the valley. Not us. We live life on the edge. One by one, we made the descent into the valley. Just like it was last year, the descent into the valley was about as easy as it gets. I never ever get tired of this view. Last winter it took my group 3.5 hours to get to this point. And we had done at least 15 recoveries, 7 of which were for the Dodge Ram guy. This time we got here in 35 minutes with a recovery count of 0. But with the upcoming crossing of the Ghost River, would that all change? I find this trail impressive each time I go. That being said, I really do prefer it when it's a challenge to navigate, as opposed to it just being a packed down, snowy road. I took point for the first crossing, mainly so I could film everyone coming across. I looked for an exit with the least amount of ice. But with the amount of traffic this trail has seen, all the banks are icy. Some in our group crossed with ease. Some left a deposit of chassis paint, and others struggled with the icy conditions. It's definitely an advantage having the proper tires for the conditions. For today, chained up tires or even studded tires would have been dialed. One thing to be very cautious of in this area is that the water levels are very unpredictable. Just the week before, the crossings were 24 inches deep. This week, 12 inches at best. Be sure to come prepared for all conditions. For some reason, Ruby and I struggled on the exits today. Filming and driving isn't exactly easy, but I think it just might be time for some new tires. We arrived at the falls, and no matter how easy the trail was this time around, the falls still offered up a sense of accomplishment. But what of that massive contingent of Toyotas? We saw a few stragglers here and there, but the larger group from staging was nowhere to be found. Oh, never mind, there they are. But why is the trail, usually dominated by Jeeps, overrun with Yotas this weekend?
The third or fourth annual Crave Toy Run, so they collect toys for the Children's Cottage in Calgary and then drop off a big donation of toys, and this is just kind of a big, morale team customer thing. They bring us all out and give us a nice day, a safe guided trip to make sure everyone can have some fun, enjoy some trails they might not have seen before. There's always lots of people out here who have done lots of these trails before, so it's a good mix of people learning and stuff like that.
The tacos in our group did fine, but given the conditions, that was to be expected.
First time out on this trail. Had no issues really.
While this Tacoma was nearly bone stock, many of the Toyotas that were still rolling in were quite heavily modified.
Oh, it's all stock besides tires, only 33-inch tires.
But the question is there a Jeep Toyota rivalry?
Oh yeah.
Not really, no.
I think there is, unfortunately.
I don't know. I personally like Toyotas.
Yeah, look at them over there. They're over there all lined up waiting for the Jeeps to get out of the way.
I think we're all just out here having fun, and if you love the forest and respect it, so be it.
It's more of like a verbal rivalry. On the trail, there's always a consideration for each other. You just want to have a safe time, make sure everyone gets out in one piece.
Quite a few say that, Jeeps are better than Toyota, but Toyotas run forever.
This is my rig right here. It's my beautiful Tacoma that I spent too much money on and breaks down too often.
Now that's something I can relate to. Well, the money spending part at least. I like Toyotas too, but more old school ones like the FJ40s or the Land Cruisers from the 80s and 90s, before they went to the IFS suspension. That's what kills it for me. I want the suspension to be as simple as possible. I've seen too many arms break and ball joints pop out on the trail. It doesn't get much more simple than this. Now, even though I'm a Wrangler owner, I've always loved the Cherokees, especially the XJs. My pal John Schultz from the States has one of the baddest XJs I've ever seen, and he wheels it hard. So I always like it when we have an XJ or two along on one of our adventures.
It's got a 3.5-inch lift on Bilsteins. It's got Rubicon Express springs in the front and then leaf springs in the back. Got Raptor liner on it. We got 33, it's sitting on 33s by 12.5 on 15s. Maybe lockers, maybe 1 tons, but that might be a big one, but we'll see other than the lockers. And yeah.
So like I said before, last time I brought my girls along, they thought I was part of a cult, a Jeep cult. Given that the Jeeps are the minority today, what do they think now?
Yeah, there are a lot of crazy people in the world. It's pretty fun, sometimes scary. I don't like going vertically on the side. I feel like I'm gonna fall over, even though you're a good driver.
I know in my heart that my wife would absolutely love these falls. The trick is getting her here, as she absolutely hates the idea of off-roading.
You're going on your bro date. Woohoo!
What kind of advice would you give her?
Close your eyes sometimes. Hold your breath. At first it's always scary, right? Because you don't know what you're getting yourself into, but the best thing to get over is just do it.
Well, the falls are always spectacular. I really wish it was just a bit more of a challenge to get here today. And I wasn't the only one that felt this way.
Yeah, this one was a little easier this year. There wasn't enough snow this time. But it was good. It's nice. The falls look good, so looks good.
Well, let's do it again in January, February. Maybe
Let's get it done. I agree. That would be awesome, yeah, for sure.
It was time for us to let the Toyotas get their Jeepless photo of the falls. Ruby and I, well, we continued to fail rather comically on the riverbanks. It's definitely time for some new tires. With so much light left, we decided to go on a wander to the Devil's Gap. We took the trail right to the boundary of the public land use zone, and the view here is amazing. But maybe coming here wasn't such a great idea. I stalled out and somehow managed to get stuck in the only snowdrift. Then, one of the XJs overheated and appeared to get vapor locked. Good thing we weren't in a rush to get out of here. Either way, we got one last group shot in and then decided that today's overlanding adventure was coming to an end. But not before we had to do one last recovery. So we just finished our trip to the Good, the Bad, the Ugly, part 2. And it was very different than the last time I was here. It was, what was a lot easier?
You know, when in the winter, I like it when it's a little easier because you just don't know what to expect, especially when it gets cold, things break. And you can still have fun when it's easy. Because it's not very challenging doesn't mean it's not a good time. So sometimes it's nice to have the trails go the way you want them to go.
Kendalle is right. It was super fun. But that comes down to finding the right group of people to share an adventure like this with. People with one thing in common, a willingness to just empty every pocket to feel the passion for their off-road rigs, no matter what the brand, even if it's a Toyota. As the sun sets, I'm already looking forward to the next trip. Be it Brule, the bubbles of Abraham Lake, some random trunk road, or even something more adventurous, like another attempt at Ruby Falls, it really doesn't matter to me. I just look forward to spending time in the mountains and maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to get my wife to join me on one of these adventures, or I'll die trying.